This weekend in La Liga, we've got a really fascinating matchup. You have the league leaders Real Madrid traveling to face a Real Sociedad team that's really been struggling. Now, on the surface, you think this is a pretty straightforward affair, right? But if you dig just a little deeper, you find a story of an imperfect giant, a team that's winning, yeah, but with some serious cracks starting to show.
And I mean, the contrast here could not be more stark. Look at this. Real Madrid has had a perfect start to their season. 3 games played, 3 wins. That's 9 points. They're sitting pretty right at the top of the table. Meanwhile, you've got Real Sociedad, who have just stumbled out of the gate, scraping together only 2 points from their first 3 matches. It's the classic top versus bottom setup.
Okay, so let's dive into this and really unpack what's going on. We'll start with this obvious clash of fortunes. Then, we're going to look at a pretty surprising internal dilemma happening at Real Madrid. After that, we'll check in on Sociedad's search for form, break down the manager's game plans with the expected lineups, and then we'll finish up with what the numbers predict for this match.
So let's really set the stage. You've got one team that is just flying high and another that's fighting just to get their season off the ground. But, as we all know in football, momentum and where you are in the league, well, that doesn't always tell the whole story, especially this early in the season.
Madrid's perfect start has them right where they expect to be. No surprise there. But for Sociedad, this isn't just a slow start. It feels more like a continuation of a really disappointing season last year where they finished 11th. That was actually their lowest league position since 2018. You can bet the pressure is building over in San Sebastian.
So, all of this points to an easy day at the office for Real Madrid, right? Well, not so fast. The real story here, the interesting part, is way more complicated, and it all revolves around these issues brewing inside the league leader's own camp.
And this brings us right to Madrid's internal dilemma. You see, even with that flawless record, Carlo Ancelotti's squad is facing some pretty significant challenges that could make this trip to the Basque Country a lot, and I mean a lot trickier than it looks on paper.
And the reason for those cracks? It's just the sheer quality that's missing because of injury. Jude Bellingham is out until at least October. Eduardo Camavinga is dealing with an ankle problem, and you've also got Ferland Mendy and Endrick sidelined. I mean, that is a huge chunk of the team's core talent sitting on the bench.
And those injuries, well, they've created a really fascinating situation. The coach's philosophy is crystal clear. Just because you're a big name, that doesn't guarantee you a starting spot. He's already proven it. He's benched stars like Vinicius Jr. in the past just to make a point. He values form over reputation, which is setting the stage for a major selection headache.
So this creates a genuine dilemma, because with Bellingham out, 2 young stars have stepped up massively. Arda Güler has been putting in some really solid performances, and the young Argentine Franco Mastantonio has adapted incredibly quickly. Honestly, they've played so well that when Bellingham is fit again, his spot is, well, it's no longer guaranteed.
Okay, now let's flip over and look at their opponents. With Madrid nursing all of these injuries and facing these internal selection debates, is there a world where Real Sociedad, despite their own struggles, can find a way to bite back?
It is definitely an uphill climb for them, and the problems are really starting to stack up. They're winless, they lost their midfield anchor Martin Zubamendi to Arsenal over the summer, and their big signing Yengel Herrera is out injured. It's just a tough situation for a team that's trying to reverse this downward trend.
But, and this is a big but, they still have legitimate threats. In Takefusa Kubo and their captain, Mikel Oyarzabal, they have creative, dangerous attackers who can cause problems for literally any defense. And playing at home at the Real Arena, that's going to give them a major boost. If there was ever a time to catch Madrid cold, this might just be it.
So how are the managers going to approach this? Let's take a look at the tactical game plan and see the expected lineups for this clash on Saturday, September 13th, with kickoff at 14:15.
For the home side, Real Sociedad, we're expecting something like a 4-5-1 formation. The key here is that packed midfield. You've got 5 players in there designed to disrupt Madrid's rhythm and really try to control the center of the park. You're going to want to keep an eye on Kubo out on the wing and Oyarzabal leading the line. They'll be the main outlets for any attack.
And for Real Madrid, wow. This lineup just showcases the insane depth we were talking about. Even with all those key injuries, this team is still formidable. You've got Arda Güler and Franco Mastantuono getting starts based on merit, and a front 3 of Mastantuono, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. I mean, come on, that is absolutely lethal attacking power.
All right, let's wrap this all up with our final section, the prediction. When we look at recent history and the data, what does it suggest is going to happen when these two teams meet?
The head-to-head record is,
Well, it's pretty telling. Real Madrid have absolutely dominated this fixture in recent years. In fact, since May of 2019, Real Sociedad have only managed to beat Madrid once in the league, just once. That's a huge psychological advantage for the visitors heading into this one.
So, with all that in mind, the final prediction is a 3-1 victory for Real Madrid. Yeah, despite the injuries and the internal selection debates, the belief is that their sheer quality, especially up front, is just going to be too much for a Real Sociedad team that's still trying to find its footing this season.
But that leaves us with the ultimate question for this match, doesn't it? Will Real Madrid's incredible squad depth and the sheer hunger of their rising stars be enough to overcome all these challenges? Or is this the perfect moment for a struggling underdog playing in front of their home crowd to pull off a classic Basque surprise? I guess we'll find out on Saturday.